Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be discussing with you on this main part of this video now is about Eddie Howie, whether or not he should leave Bournemouth to join a big club. It'd be his decision basically. Would he be able to replace Jose Mourinho at Old Trafford? If Jose Mourinho does get the sack, we know that he's under immense pressure at Manchester United. As we all know, he spoke about yesterday's result. I thought majority of players played very, very well yesterday against Everton. Jose Mourinho praised, he praised Matic, who he's worked with before at Chelsea, as we all know, and he's now with him now. He praised Paul Pogba. We saw both sides of Paul Pogba yesterday. I thought he had a fantastic game in that midfield. I thought Fred played very, very well. It was good to see Jose Mourinho given the opportunity. I thought he looked very, very energetic, very creative. Obviously, we know he put Rashford down as centre. We know usually Mourinho, because he obviously rested Lukaku, brought him on as a sub later on in the game. He usually plays better on that left-hand side or that right-hand side. We know Martial was on the left-hand side. And Jose Mourinho's praised Antonio Martial. He's got fantastic young age talent. He won the Golden Boy Award back in 2015. He's nearly made century appearances now for Man United. He's got a lot of experience of playing in France as well as Antonio Martial. He's been at the club since 2015, but he has been in absolutely fantastic form. Scoring a lovely goal yesterday. Scored two fantastic goals against Chelsea as well. But his pace, his genuine pace is absolutely unbelievable. A bit comparable to Marcus Rashford's pace as well. I think Martial's a great finisher. I also think Rashford's a great finisher. Maybe slightly has to improve on it as well. Mourinho's admitted, the situation with Rashford has been scoreless in a while. Romelu Lukaku's been scoreless in a while. Jose Mourinho's basically admitted that the goals will come from Lukaku, but he still said, Jose Mourinho, he has praised the players, who stood out for him yesterday in that game. He went with a 4-3-3 formation. He praised the players, but he still admitted as Jose Mourinho, Manchester United, do have to spend big, in the January window, they still spend more money, bolster the squad a bit more, to compete, especially, with the European teams, as I mentioned as well. But Jose Mourinho admitted, he's still not that happy, with Manchester United's attacking or defending. And Jose Mourinho's admitted this. He still knows basically, down where the problems lie at Manchester United. But he has praised the players, but he still says we're lacking. I thought as attacking extent was very, very good yesterday. Looked very, very good in possession, looked sharp in possession. We had quite a lot of chances, so it could have been more. As we all know, Everton, had chances of their own as well. But Jose Mourinho come out, he's bought 11 players since he's come. This is his third season in the process. Very, very good pedigree, Premier League proven, all experience in Spain and Italy, and he's won everywhere he's been. There's pundits saying, give him time, still he may turn it around at Old Trafford. And there's some saying that want him out. Eric Cantona, a fantastic legend, said, he wants the next player to take over Manchester United. He said Ryan Giggs would be good. We had him as interim manager just after the David Moyes sacking back in 2014. As we all know, but But yeah, I've never nearly known not like it in my life. Paul Pogba's run up, for that penalty yesterday. Marco Silva, for Everton manager, Everton manager, came out in the interview and he admitted, he said that Martial died for the penalty. For me, I'm not too sure. I'll have to watch it again on one of the highlights if it was a penalty or not. Some said he got the ball. Some said Martial went down too easily. Some said he caught his foot, so there was contact there made in the penalty box. I'd say, to be quite honest with you, Everton's was a lot more of a penalty, than Manchester United's. But yeah, Pogba, I could have had a lot of jobs done by the time Pogba run up to take that penalty. It was a penalty chaos. He did miss the penalty, but he did get the rebound in to make it 1-0. Everton had chances of their own as well. Everton's, best chance of the game was Bernard. In the second half when he rounded De Gea, he could have actually squared it off to the player on the right-hand side. Can't remember who it was, but he tried taking De Gea on. Went round, and then he hit side netting, so that was a bad miss. Sigurdsson had a chance as well, headed save from De Gea. De Gea had to make a couple of saves in the game. I thought Manchester United as well should have made it 3-1 near the end. Antonio Martial could have had more than one goal as well. Right at the end, he tried chipping the keeper, but the Everton goalkeeper had saved it right at the end. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent performance. Considering we've got a fantastic record against Everton. We've now scored a century of goals against Everton. As we all know, in our last 8 now, including this Everton victory yesterday, it's only 2 wins now in 8 games. In all competitions, and we all do. Lukaku, Mourinho says the goals will come from Lukaku. He brought substitutes on yesterday. He brought Herrera, he brought Lukaku on for Rashford, Herrera, I think he brought on for Mata, and he brought Lingard on for Fred. But we know Herrera hasn't been getting that much game time at United, especially under the Jose Mourinho area. Under Louis van Gaal, he was, Van Gaal was selecting Ander Herrera regularly, as we all know. So he could leave in January. So we could see players leaving in the January. You've got Luke Shaw, who recently just signed a 5-year contract as well. I forgot to tell you guys as well. I think a lot of United fans, still on Jose Mourinho's back, still want Jose Mourinho out. I thought tactically, to be fair to Mourinho, he got it right yesterday. He got it wrong in the Juventus game. He praised a lot of the Juventus game. In the Juventus game, he praised Juventus players. He says they're a quality team. He says Manchester, we're not on that level yet of them European teams. As I said, so he says we need to spend more. Because in the Juventus game, Jose Mourinho he had no plan B. Where was the tactical game plan? Didn't bring a substitution on the Juventus game. Juventus are the top side, best side in Italy. It looks like the best side in Italy. But, in the Everton game, I thought Jose Mourinho got it spot on. Usually Rashford plays on the left or the right, but obviously he put Rashford there instead of Lukaku. So he wanted to give Lukaku a bit of a rest, even though he did put him on in the second half, did Jose Mourinho. But overall, I thought Fred played well in the midfield. Pogba played very, very well. Matic played well. I think they combined well together in the midfield. Rashford hasn't scored in a while, but I thought he played well as well. He had a chance or two of his own. Luke Shaw, I thought played well. I thought the majority of the team played very, very well. Everton's penalty obviously was Smalling on Richardson as well. That was a definite penalty in my eyes. Sigurdsson took it away and that made it 2-1. But Manchester United's second goal was absolutely fantastic. Pogba got a goal, as I said, from the rebound penalty. He also got an assist for Martial's second as well, which was good to see. Martial, lovely cut inside out in the box and find his place, finishes it, and that was an absolute lovely goal. So, we scored 100 goals now against Everton. Martial made sure of that. We've got a good record against them. Haven't lost to them now in 9 meetings, as I said. We haven't lost to them in 9 meetings, Everton. Everton winless in 8 games in all competitions against us. So yeah, basically the situation now, you Jose Mourinho in still, should you give him time, or you Jose Mourinho out? We know he's won 3 trophies, since he's come to Old Trafford, but we know, there has been a few talks of potential managers coming in to replace Jose Mourinho. However, Eddie Howie has, not been mentioned, but I watched BT, I think it was it after the Leicester West Ham game? The BT Sport pundits was talking about Eddie Howie, would he or should he leave Bournemouth, for a big club? Because we know he's spent the majority of his career at Bournemouth as Eddie Howie. We know we know that he's never really had an experience. He's never had an experience of managing big teams. He's never had an experience of managing big teams. But he's been at Bournemouth, the majority of his career. So we know Bournemouth have been in the Premier League since 2015. Eddie Howie won the Championship with them. Eddie Howie won the Football League Manager of the Decade award. He won the Championship Manager of the Year. Manager of the Year. He won the Premier League Manager of the Month since he's been in the Premier League with Bournemouth. He's won the Championship Manager of the Year, Championship Manager of the Month, and the League One Manager of the Month, as well as Eddie Howie. And he joined Bournemouth in 2009 as manager. He became the youngest manager in the Football League he became the youngest manager in the Football League to join Bournemouth in January, I think it was, 2009 as well. But Eddie Howie, he's got Bournemouth, he's got a good bunch of players out there. Bournemouth, doing very, very well this season, sitting 6th. Manchester United have got Bournemouth next. Bournemouth they've won 6 out of 10 games, drawn 2 and lost 2, so that's a very good start, considering, it's only Bournemouth, Eddie Howie spent about, about 51 million pound in the last summer window. He got 2 players from the La Liga, I can't pronounce the names, and he got a player from Sheffield United called David Brooks as well. They've got a good bunch of players of Bournemouth, on their standard. They've got Callum Wilson in there, they've got Lewis Cook in there, they've got Ryan Fraser in there of Bournemouth, Lewis Cook, Jermaine Defoe as well of Bournemouth as well. I just mentioned Ryan Fraser. They've got quite a good set of players of Bournemouth, and would you think, I don't think Eddie Howie would want to leave Bournemouth. He's been there majority of his career. In his senior career, when he, in his senior career, when he played for Bournemouth, when he was playing football, he played most of his senior career at Bournemouth as well, and he spent most of his managerial career at Bournemouth, so we know he's in his senior career he's been at the likes of Portsmouth and Swindon Town on loan as well. We know he's also managed Burnley in 2011-12 season. That was for only one. I think he wasn't that. It was I think it was a year or so he was at Burnley, and then he went back to Bournemouth. We know he joined Bournemouth in 2009. So he has been at Bournemouth a lot of years as well. But obviously we know he's an average manager, isn't he? He's not a manager. He's not a manager like Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola. He's totally a comparison, to them managers. But he has won stuff himself, and you never manage a big team. He's never played for the big teams, but would he or should he, Eddie Howie, leave Bournemouth, to join a big club? BT Sports pundits have been talking about it as well, about Eddie Howie. But yeah, it just says it on the BT Sport. If Jose Mourinho was to, leave Manchester United, could Eddie Howie, potentially take over the Old Trafford job? Because it just said in the main headlines, would Eddie Howie or should he, leave Bournemouth, to go on and join a big club? Because we know he's been at Bournemouth a long time, as Eddie Howie, and he's got a good bunch of players out there. And Bournemouth, performances this season have been fantastic. They've lost 2 games. I can't remember the 2 games they lost. I think one of them they lost to Burnley 4-0. But, they've done very, very well this season of Bournemouth. Sitting 6th in the table. Manchester United sitting 8th, with a victory over Everton yesterday. So what do you think to the Eddie Howie situation? Would you potentially want him as Manchester United manager if Jose Mourinho does get sacked? I'm not quite sure, but we know he hasn't got... he hasn't got that pedigree of, managing big teams, because he's never managed a big team, or in his senior career never played for a big team, as we all know. But yeah, so we know there's been in the press about Jose Mourinho as well. He's been coming out saying basically, he's not, there's players coming to end of the contracts at Manchester United. You've got Antonio Martial. I think Antonio Valencia, who's been at the club since 2009 as well, when we got him from Wigan under the Alex Ferguson era. And, obviously we know David De Gea is coming to an end of his current contract, because his current contract expires next summer, does David De Gea's. We know Jose Mourinho is not too confident that David De Gea will currently extend his contract until 2020. His current one ends in next summer. Does David De Gea? He has been at the club since 2011. Ferguson had bought him just for over £18 million, as we all know. But for me, I think David De Gea will be satisfied. I think he will, happily stay at Manchester United, as long as we're competing, up the table, competing for silverware as well. I think David De Gea will be happy to stay, as he has done that with Manchester United in the past, with Alex Ferguson, and, I think, he's won the Premier League with Alex Ferguson, obviously. But David De Gea, I think, is happy. He said, David De Gea is happy. I think basically he said he's focusing on winning. He's not focusing too much yet on signing a new deal with Manchester United. We know basically Real Madrid have been heavy admirers of the goalkeeper. Real Madrid have been heavily linked with him. Obviously, Real Madrid did sign Quartar, as we're all aware. They did get that goalkeeper they wanted. David De Gea they wanted a lot. Before Manchester United, were demanding a high price tag, for David De Gea. I just don't think Manchester United. I think Manchester United were just reluctant to sell him, and I don't think Manchester United will get rid of him. I think David De Gea. I still think he will sign this new deal. In my opinion, Mourinho's not too confident over it, but I think he will sign this new deal, Manchester United. But he's just not focusing on it yet. So when the time does come next summer, and I think then David De Gea will sign this new deal, and I think he will, because potentially, without him at times, we could be suffering total humiliations, as we all know. But as goal difference this season has been extremely, extremely poor. He hasn't been very, very good. We have leaked a lot of goals this season as well, so you can see defensively we've got defensive problems. We've conceded 17 goals in the Premier League this season in our first 10 games, which is pretty bad, considering, City and Chelsea, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, haven't even conceded half of them many goals, in the Premier League so far. They haven't conceded that many in the Premier League so far, likes of Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, who are all undefeated, as we all know. Chelsea winning 4-0 at Burnley yesterday. Chelsea have also got a fantastic, fantastic squad. They've got Eden Hazard in there, and I can't remember the manager they've got, Chelsea. I can't remember the manager they've got, Chelsea now. We know they've had managers sacked over the years, so they had quite a lot of managers in a short period of time that have been sacked. Obviously, Chelsea have won 5 Premier Leagues. They could, 4 Premier Leagues, 1 all First Division. This could be their 6 all in all this season, because I think Chelsea could potentially win it. For me, Chelsea have got a fantastic squad. Some people think, they're not strong enough maybe to win it this season. People think Liverpool, Man City, just slightly better than Chelsea at the moment. For me, I'm not too sure, because Chelsea spent quite a bit of money in the last summer window. Liverpool spent the most money in the last summer window, £170 million. And they've got world-class players like Salah, Firmino and Shaqiri. That's been impressive for Liverpool this season. And Jurgen Klopp's addressed that as well. But, Eden Hazard, for me, Chelsea have got Eden Hazard, Jose Mourinho, did admit, obviously he's got a good relationship with Eden Hazard, Jose Mourinho, because he's worked with Eden Hazard in the past as Jose Mourinho. I think, in my opinion, Martial, the way he's performing, especially at the moment on that left-hand side, Eden Hazard's versatile. He can play, in different positions. He mainly plays on that left-hand side as Eden Hazard. I think, Martial's becoming the new Eden Hazard at Manchester United. I think, he's growing and developing. He still needs to grow and develop it more. I think Martial is coming comparable to Eden Hazard on that left-hand side for Manchester United. So I think he's similar in his style of play to Eden Hazard, is Antonio Martial. I think Eden Hazard's a great finisher. I don't think he's that much of a team player like, Kevin De Bruyne at Manchester City. But I think Eden Hazard is a very, very good player indeed. Potentially, for me, the second best player in the Premier League. I think De Bruyne is the first. De Bruyne is more of a team player, as we all know. But yeah, the difference is basically, but there, guys, I'm just going to go upstairs a minute. So for me, Manchester United have got Bournemouth next, as we all know. I think we still need to spend a bit of money in January. We're now 8th in the table, the strappings of our club, we should be basically, considering the amount of money Manchester United have spent, £1 billion. It's over £1 billion in all the managerial areas, £89 million for Paul Pogba we paid for. He does have the odd good game that, now and then. He does, create, and he's enthusiastic, in that midfield is Paul Pogba. But we know there's been, as I keep saying, there's rumours that he's linked with a move back to Juventus. Is Paul Pogba, where he made 124 appearances. Manchester United paid £89 million for the player. But before that, since he's been here since 2016, we got him on a free transfer you know, we let him go on a free transfer, you know, just before we paid £89 million. I think that was back in 2012, let him go on a free transfer, and then repurchased him back in 2016 for a staggering £89 million, Paul Pogba. So there has been talks about him, you know, potentially making a return back to Juventus. We know he's had disputes with Jose Mourinho as Paul Pogba. Oh yes, guys, just going to remind you on this video now, I forgot all about it. Manchester United Everton game yesterday, you know, Manchester United and Everton weared armbands. They did a minute's silence and paid tribute and respect for the tragedy of what happened at Leicester. The current play, the helicopter crashed. That was bad to hear. And they died, and it was the Leicester owner that passed away, died the age of 60, or was it 61 in that helicopter crash. It was for the Leicester West Ham game. The helicopter had crashed, and you know the owner basically of Leicester, who bought Leicester $39 million in 2010, and that following February, you know, became the chairman of Leicester City. So I pay all my respect for that, you know, and we pay as a tribute for that as well. That was that's something I did forget about to tell you on my video. So that was very bad to hear. You know, Leicester, you know, winning the title in 2015-16. You know, that dramatic fairy tale. You know. But yeah, that's very, very sad to hear about that. It's not good for football, is that, hearing stories like that. So I do, as I said, pay all my respect, as I said. So basically, we've got Bournemouth next. Moving on, we've got Bournemouth next. And then I think it's Manchester City after Bournemouth as well, who spent a hell of a lot of money. Manchester United have spent, I think, the most, all in all, you know, out of the big teams. We know Pep Guardiola spent £1 billion on his managerial career. Spent more than half of that at Manchester City, as we all know. But yeah, as I said, you know, we're nowhere near, you know, competing with the top teams, you know, as we should be. And, you know, these players at Manchester United, you know, want to be competing, you know, for trophies and silverware, as we have done in the past. You know, we've, you know, nearly 3 decades of success, you know, with Alex Ferguson. But we know this is a different squad now that Jose Mourinho has got. I think is Bournemouth Saturday 12:30. I think it is. I will have to have a look at that as well. It's at the Vitality Stadium. You know, as I said, there's been 5 meetings, I think, between the sides, or is it 6 meetings or something like that? Last time we did lose to Bournemouth, you know, when they came up in 2015, we lost, you know, to Bournemouth by 2-1, you know, under the Louis van Gaal era. But yeah, what do you think? This main part of this video is about Eddie Howie. I watched a bit of BT Sport. There were talks, you know. He just said, would or should Eddie Howie leave Bournemouth, you know, to join a big club? You know, do you think he could take a big club forward to success? Eddie Howie, we know he hasn't got the experience of that because he's never managed a big team. He's never, you know, his senior career, never played for the big team. He made about 200 appearances, you know, for Bournemouth, you know, when he was playing for them, you know, before he became manager. But what do you think of this situation? We know a few names have been thrown in the hat. We know of Jose Mourinho's replacement. Eric Cantona doesn't want him there. He's not the right man, as I said. Jose, you know, there's been about Zidane. There were talks about that 2 or 3 weeks ago when I notified you on one of my videos about Zidane. There were talks about that as well. He had discussions with his representatives, Zidane, about considering making a move to the Premier League. He's never managed English football. Representatives said he wouldn't want to manage an English footballer. Zidane, you know, he's had a lot of success with Real Madrid. But yeah, I'd like to know your opinions on it. Like I said, we know it doesn't always mean, you know, Eddie Howie could go to a big club and do very, very well. He's doing very, very well with Bournemouth. They're not a massive club. They're a small club, let's be honest, but he has got a good bunch of players in there as Eddie Howie. And, you know, basically, it doesn't always mean if a manager leaves a club and he hasn't got any experience of managing a big team or having a fantastic pedigree, it doesn't mean he can't go to a big club, you know, when succeed. Because with Jose Mourinho now, in, you know, Jose Mourinho's position, you know, he's at Manchester United. You know, he's not doing very, very well at Manchester United, you know, since he's come. This is his 3rd season. We know he has spent money. But basically, Jose Mourinho's got a fantastic pedigree. As I said, Premier League, proven in English football, won 3 titles with Chelsea, won titles everywhere else he's been, and he hasn't succeeded at Manchester United. The players are to blame, so is Mourinho, and, also had Van Gaal. He had a good pedigree, not as good as Mourinho, but he never had experience of managing English football before he came to United, but he had a fantastic pedigree with Bayern Munich. He won honours with them, and he didn't do very, very well at Manchester United, so it doesn't always mean if a manager hasn't got, a fantastic pedigree, or if a manager hasn't managed or experienced managing a big team or playing for the big team, it doesn't mean he can't leave Bournemouth and come to a big club like United or City or whatever and succeed. But BT Sport have been talking about this as well. So I'd like to know your opinions on it, guys. Like I say, drop me comments like below on the channel. It's RedDevil22, I think. Subscribe if you do consider. Take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again on the next video. Bye.